Hey, so I'm a little dark and ominous right now. It's like 8 o'clock and the sun's not out, so I'm trying to use a light in my living room. I guess I could go sit on the couch for it to make it better, but whatever. Um, it's 1st of October. I just got back from San Francisco yesterday and I was writing in my live journal that I was going to write a big entry about it, but I find that I talk better about things. So, here I am. Ta-da! Um, so with the border both ways, by far going into the States was the funniest. The guy was bugging me about my lobes, and just, he was really nice. It was weird. I've heard so much horror stories about um, going across either way, so I'm glad that, I haven't had any issues thus far. Hopefully it continues like that. San Francisco is an interesting place. It's beautiful. It was sunny the whole time I was there. And, anybody on here that sees Carson stuff or is on his MySpace as well knows that you can see Coit Tower and the Golden Gate Bridge from his place, which was just beautiful. Like, pretty much every night I'd spend at least 10-15 minutes on the couch, like, staring at Coit Tower, and just, it was really pretty. Everybody was extremely nice there. I don't know, I think, being Canadian, and I'm just speaking for myself here, being raised in Alberta, you have this vision of, like, the States that everybody's really mean and, like, ignorant and everything, which I imagine there's places that are, as well as it's like that in Canada and some places as well. But I think I still have this stereotypical view of Americans sometimes. So, thinking that, of course San Francisco I knew would be queer friendly and everything, but everybody was really polite. I didn't feel awkward at all. Um, Going to the Castro, and we went to a couple of different bars, and there was one night where we both got dressed up and we hung out with Bobby and Corey, I believe their names were, and they're from Reno, and they're like a blast. It was hilarious. We're at the cafe and just ended up talking to them, and yeah, it was really good times. Just being in the Castro, like, we went to the cafe and we kept on going to this diner that was kind of across the street, sort of. It was by the cafe anyway, and we kept on. Carson always had, like, the spinach and feta omelet, and I had the pancakes, and it was just like, I don't know. That whole neighborhood was really rad, and even being downtown, like Market and Fourth, where, there's all these huge, like, Bloomingdale's, and, like, we went to Sephora, because makeup. um, and it was really interesting to be there. The buildings are so old, and it's just nothing that I've really seen before, because I've only really traveled in Canada. I've been to Seattle a couple times, but that's a little different. Um, we had, like we were saying in our other blog, we had some amazing food, um, and just the only thing that kind of got to me was just, like, how, not that it was, like, hella expensive. I mean, I was visiting, so of course we were doing a lot of things that costed money, but just knowing what the rent situation and everything is like there, it's pretty expensive. I mean, like, yeah, given in Vancouver, if you're living in Yaletown or downtown, like the west side of Vancouver or something, it's really expensive too. Um, I think I'm just used to the East Van culture where, we have a bunch of markets and you can, like, seek out the best prices, and you don't really have to spend a lot of money if you don't want to. There's a lot of events where it's like pay as you can and you're not going to get turned away from lack of funds, which I really appreciate, but that's very much this neighborhood as well. Obviously in San Francisco and, like, just like in places in Vancouver, it's very touristy, so of course, there's profit to be made. But in East Vancouver, it's more because there's so many single families and students and people like myself that are single and, just employed, at a, well, I'm not employed, but you know what I mean. Um, it's kind of understood that, like, we don't have a lot of income, so there's a lot of events that are geared towards that, which is nice and something that I'm getting used to. I mean, even when I went back to Alberta, um, just spending money was just kind of. I think what's really getting to me is the whole I'm gonna be poor for another 2 years. Not poor, poor, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna have a lot of money for the next 2 years. And even though when I'm done, I'll be able to be comfortable, it's just something that's a little hard to swallow because there's things that I want to do, and even to save up for something is kind of. It's not really doable right now because my focus is on school, so it's just kind of. I mean, I've never really had a lot of money to begin with, but being reliant on my parents for another 2 years is just eating away at a bit of my pride and independence that I've been accustomed to. So I think I'll just have to get over that somehow. Anyway, and yeah, being back in Vancouver, even though like it's great to see people again and having that sense of familiarity, Carson's not here, and that fucking sucks. Each time we visit, I get more and more used to being around him, and then being thrown back into my own little world and not having him around, and just, talking to him on the internet or on the phone is just really weird. It's difficult, to have a long distance relationship because, like, in all reality, we've only spent 3 weeks together. Mind you, like 24/7 of 3 weeks. But we've been together like 4 months now, and it's fantastic. It's just I've never done this before, so it's just kind of new territory. And as we keep on progressing, like further into a relationship, it's interesting. Like, I mean, I've had, when I was a kid, like short-lived long distance relationships that never lasted more than a month, but this is a lot more serious than that. And it's just interesting navigating that. It just sucks being apart is basically the point I'm trying to make. As anybody that deals with long distance relationship knows. I imagine most people nowadays have had at least one. Sorry, I keep on hitting the chair. Yeah, other than that, it's 6 months. Actually, it was 6 months 2 days ago on tea for me. I'm getting a lot of acne lately, especially like around my mouth and like where my beard's coming in. I haven't shaved in a couple days, and that's how my sideburns and my facial hair is filling in a bit more. I still have, I don't know if I talked about this on any of my other vlogs, but I have back hair. Not like crazy, crazy back hair. As Carson describes it, it's like soft and down-like, but still, it's there. And I'm really considering getting it waxed, but I'm just trying to figure out whether I really need to spend that money or not. I mean, there's lots of guys out there with like hairy backs. I just don't want it to like be hairier than my chest, which it's not at this point. But I just don't want to cross over to that. But I guess I'll just deal with it as it comes. Yeah. All in all, San Francisco is really good. I mean, seeing the Golden Gate Bridge, I got so excited going out to it, and we got to take some great pictures, and being at Folsom. Even though my anxiety kind of crept up on me a couple times because there's so many people there, it was a really good experience. I felt completely at home. I mean, I felt even kind of tame to some people. But yeah, 2 weeks until school starts, and can't really tell if it's me getting scared or just anxious for it to happen. I know I'll be able to handle it. It's just not knowing what to expect is kind of weird. I think everybody gets that. But anyways, I'm coming up on 10 minutes and blah, 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 blah. When I watch this again, it never seems like 10 minutes because I just like to ramble. But yeah, like I said at the end of every video, hope everybody's doing well. Bye.